Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Youngstown, Warren, and Salem's local and national sports talk can be found on TuneIn and the Live 365 app at Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the-right seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
It's time to kick back and listen to the Sports Page with your host, Pat Lucia, right here on Western Reserve Radio. You can call the show at 330-707-4202 and tell everyone what's on your mind in the wonderful world of sports. Now, here's your host, Pat Lucia.
Saturday morning Sports Page. Pat Lucia, Dave Clark. We're back for a bit.
Yeah.
It's the summer. It's the summer and it's the Saturday morning Sports Page. Oh, Dave Clark. We've been out a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
A lot going on, obviously, in the world of sports, as always.
As always.
I think it's so typical, but I think Jim Harbaugh basically being banned by the NCAA for till 2028.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really coming back by then.
That's like, I think Harbaugh's lawyer made the analogy. He compared it to being in college and you get a letter from your high school counselor telling him that you've been suspended because you didn't sign the yearbook.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that quote.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, I don't. I mean, it's dumb. It makes it's not dumb.
No,
it's typical NCAA. Right. That's what that is,
and
that's what they do
goes to show what we've been pretty much saying on this show forever, but now more than ever, they need to really go away, cease and desist, and they realistically, if this is more of a reason for college football to break away from the NCAA. I mean, and this has got nothing to do, the part with Harbaugh getting in trouble with the NCAA, this has got nothing to do with the sign stealing. This is not that.
No, that's what people have.
Right.
Thinking.
Everybody has tied it. Oh, this is because they stole sign. No.
It's about that burger.
This is the hamburger. This is the improper recruitment.
Too many onions. Too much lettuce on it.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have did it.
And that did him in. And he did it during COVID.
Right.
Which I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I don't know if that makes it worse or better. Not that it matters. But the fact that he did it then, bottom line is, he's never, shouldn't say never coaching college. Highly unlikely that Jim Harbaugh ever goes back to coaching college football.
Yeah.
He's in the NFL. I think the contract he signed with the Chargers, I believe, was like a 8-year deal worth millions upon millions of dollars. I'll give the number here, but he is not ever going to really coach college football. No. He's done. He won his NCAA title, got it to Michigan, the school that he went to and played for. He got them a title. Mm-hmm. They're happy.
Right.
Now what the NCAA does with the program, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, and I always hate that too, Situation happens 3-4 years ago. So now let's say you have a son that's coming up playing ball and gets recruited by Michigan, heavily recruited. Everything full ride, ready to go there. And they go on probation because of something that happened 5-6 years ago.
Right.
That's insane. I never liked that rule. If you figure somebody did a situation, then you go after them. If they done left, then you may have to do it monetarily by large fines or whatever. But what they do is this. I just can't believe it. And then what it's for? I mean, here's for the hand. I mean, every time I think about that, that makes me go back to Quinn Snyder and, you can't be cooking your basketball team. Your wife can't be doing that for the Sunday dinner.
No.
Have them over for Sunday dinner and watch NBA basketball with the team. That's actually, don't they call that team bonding?
Yeah.
Now? But he can't do that because she's, she had too many mashed potatoes and stuff. I mean, it's unbelievable. He left and he's never looked back. I mean, that's sad.
Basically, the NCAA announced, for the record here, a 4-year show cause order for former Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh. This was Wednesday for impermissible contact with recruits and players during COVID, effective banning him from college athletics until August of 2028. So he's been banned. Mm-hmm. And other people that have been banned were Jerry Seinfeld and Kramer were banned from the fruit store because Kramer tried to take a peach back. And Joe, the guy that owned the peach store, the fruit store, told Kramer, "That's not my fault. The peach is not good. blame God. He's the one that basically is, he's got control over Peaches. The rain, the weather, that controls Peaches. Don't blame me. So Kramer got mad at Joe, and Joe banned him from the store. And then Jerry came in and he tried to buy what Kramer wanted, and Joe banned him from the store. So they're
that's similar to what the NCAA does.
And I would basically equate that to what the NCAA did with Harbaugh.
Yeah, well,
right? And I think only difference, I think Jerry and Kramer were permanently banned. They said they were not allowed ever to go back in there and buy fruit from Joe because Joe got mad at him.
Mm-hmm.
Joe got mad at Kramer.
Yeah, it's
right. So that's how I equate this.
Yeah, it's sad though.
Yeah. I was thinking.
I mean, that thing needs to go away.
Yeah,
big time. We've been saying it for years. I mean, on these radio airways, we've been saying it for years.
For years,
because it just doesn't make sense what they do.
No,
and they go after. I don't even know if I would want to coach in college, especially if you're a big name, because they actually zero in on certain individuals and got a lot to say. Oh, we got to investigate this and just anything. So, the next guy, let me see, who would I think they'll go after next? Maybe Dion, maybe? Anything? Find something with him.
Yeah.
Let's get him, I mean, they had it out for Harbaugh anyway.
Yeah,
And once they get, especially if you're a guy that doesn't want to talk. I'm not.
What it was.
I don't want to talk to you guys.
Right.
Once you do that,
once you don't cooperate.
Yep.
And I think, and that's what did him in with obviously I think he obviously knew it was coming. Mm-hmm. So that's why he was going to the Chargers, and they obviously were begging him. And for the record, the contract that he signed with LA, we still call them the San Diego Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
He signed a 5-year deal, a reported annual salary of $16 million. So he's making $16 million a year for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's $80 million.
Yeah.
So he doesn't care what the NCAA does, and neither does the Chargers.
No.
I mean, I remember years ago, though, when the NCAA came down on Tressel and Pryor, then the NFL made them sit out like 5 games.
Yeah. Yep.
In which made absolutely no sense at all, because I don't know why the NFL would care, because Pryor sold his little gold pants for tattoos, which now when you look at it, an NIL flying around, it's almost, that's laughable at best. It was kind of laughable back then. Now it's right. It was still so petty.
With all the gym bags flying around with
all the money
full of money. Yeah, so come on, man.
Right.
I'll just oh boy. I just they getting to the point though, when you look at the colleges, with the way they're leaving and starting these conferences getting bigger and stuff. They get so powerful, they'll be able to break away. They really could now. They
can right now.
Right now, they got enough power to break away from the NCAA.
Yeah, I think that they need to do it. I think that I don't understand why they don't.
Yeah, because I mean they're outdated with their different policies and things that they use to regulate these schools. The policies are so outdated. The things that they do. I mean, they have to come to some reality. Some of these things come on. I mean, are we going to really cry about getting a McDonald's hamburger? I mean, come on. You got these kids that come here and you, like we have talked about, they're hungry or something. Oh, you can't even do that. I think that's insane. I mean, you can't do any of that kind of thing.
No.
If they were in school and went to the cafeteria where you have to pay for something, they don't have the meal tickets yet, and you buy that for them.
That's illegal.
That is illegal. Yeah. And I don't care what it is. It could be a pack of gum. You can't do it. This is sad.
Well, I'll give you an example, kind of how really screwed up it is. Few years ago, I had a nephew that played basketball, college basketball. And this is during the off year. He was running in a race, a marathon race or something like that.
Out of season, right?
Out of season.
Yeah.
Nothing, and absolutely nothing to do with, it was just the local town was having a marathon triathlon. Anyway, he was participating. And I guess they went to him or said that if you win, you can't take any money for that. Because that would be a violation of.
Yeah.
And see, that would be a violation.
Right.
And it was like, the winner got $100 or something, nothing.
Right.
But the point is, he was told that you can't take any money if you win, because that would be violating the fact that you play basketball, and therefore that's considered an extra benefit, even though you might have earned the benefit by winning the contest race or whatever. You can't do that. You can't take that money.
Right. Yep.
So that's how overreaching, how involved they are, is they're going after like these kids that are just basically, trying to make money on the side, and they're not allowed to do it because it's considered an extra benefit. So again, with this whole thing with Harbaugh, it really goes back to what we've always been saying. They really need to get out of the NCAA they're not getting out, but college football and college basketball. And I think they just need to get away from the NCAA when we talk about these TV contracts that the schools enter into with TV, and how much money is coming out of these TV contracts, billions of dollars. And why did UCLA, USC, Oregon, and Washington leave the Pac-12 is because of the 60 some odd million dollars they would get from the Big Ten network if they enter the Big Ten conference.
Right.
And forget tradition.
Yeah.
It's got all to do, it's always money. It's just, you could almost say you always follow the money no matter whatever you do. I almost get into argument is if you even follow politics and stuff, we don't get into politics, we won't, but just sometimes you can look back and follow the money trail. That might answer some questions you might have. Certain politicians do whatever, but the point on it is just follow money. And with the NCAA, it's just craziness, because when these kids are competing and they have a career on the line, they should get paid. We've been saying it forever, because after all, look at the money that they bring in. And that's not even, look at all the merchandising that they bring in.
Oh, yeah.
And,
absolutely.
It's the best minor league system that the NFL has.
Oh, yeah.
Because college football is a money-making machine, and you take, pro football being one and college football being two.
Right. Well,
as far as contract TV money and popularity.
Oh, there's no doubt. And I think back when, because let me see, Roger Goodell, was he the head when Tressel got?
Yeah,
he was, right. But see, I think that was his early years.
Yeah,
and not knowing what it'd be, he's looking at that as just what you just said. That's your farm system. He wants to keep everything on the up and up and in good standing. But if that would have happened today, Roger Goodell would have looked at them and said, because he sees what this is. He know what the NFL is, a conglomerate. You can just forget it. You're not. Hey, we'll survive. We know we will.
Yeah,
so I think that his early years, he's trying to keep everything nice with the NCAA, their farm system with the NFL. I think he wouldn't even care less right now, because he knows now in the business there's no way he would do anything like that. And it's sad that ever even happened, And I think that really turned off because you could see that Jim Tressel still had, I think, he knows, but it just seemed like he still had that energy and fire to continue coaching and just cut it off like that. I think he was just like, I think it just took everything from him to want to coach anymore.
Oh, yeah.
He wouldn't have anything to do with it no more.
I think that was true.
It's almost like a political thing. Like, I'm done.
I'm done.
This nonsense is going on. I'm just done. I don't want to do any coaching.
No.
Yep.
I think you're right. Yeah. I think that he put it in the rearview mirror.
Yep.
Figured that's it.
Yep. Went to his next phase of his life.
Yep.
So that's it.
I coached at Ohio State. I got to maybe the job I always wanted. It ended the way it did, and I'm moving on. And yeah, he could have probably continued to coach. Mm-hmm. No doubt, he definitely had, ability.
It wasn't. You didn't hear anything.
No,
you never heard any kind of thing about him retiring or anything at the time. So he would have continued coaching at Ohio State, and whatever else might have happened, whether it was off to the pros or whatever. But I think that situation and everything that happened in that situation with the kids that he coached and what they went through, then himself, his family, I think he was done.
Yeah, I think
it just took all of the fire out to want to do it, and that's what the NCAA can do to you. Just with their dumb regulations that they have. And they, for a long time we know they singled out, certain let's just say what it is.
Yeah,
racist. Thing that they had for the longest.
Oh yeah.
That they would just single out and just go after them.
Poor.
Yep.
African American black people, they would go after them. And they knew it was like the bully. They could bully them. Mm-hmm. And again, that book, Indentured, is an unbelievable book because you read that book and you almost think to yourself, that the NCAA belongs in jail. The government should be doing something against this rogue organization, what it's doing to these poor players and their families.
Right.
It's an eye-opening.
They did ruin some.
Oh, they did.
And then they got others that they ruined their college career and then their chance of even playing pro, if it was basketball, football, they ruined it.
They ruined it.
They tried to do it to Marvin Barnes and them.
Oh, yeah.
That's just, they were able to go on and be in the ABA and NBA and still was stars.
Well, Connie Hawkins, Roger Brown.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. They tried to ruin those guys.
They had no proof of anything.
No.
Outside of these guys took a ride with Jack Molinas, who was a known gambler fixer. But he offered these guys a ride in New York City, and they took it, and that was it.
Yeah.
They never found any other relationship
of them fixing or doing anything with games.
No. Nothing. No money, and like.
And they even through film, they said just looking at it, sometimes you can see this guy's trying to, and they never could even identify them guys not going hard.
No,
not. It's just unbelievable.
No, they took basically, an innuendo and kept Roger Brown and Connie Hawkins out of the NBA. They went to the ABA, and ultimately then they got back into the NBA after Hawkins won his lawsuit, and then Roger Brown ultimately got back in too. Well, when they made the Indiana Pacers, they merged, but by then Roger Brown was at the tail end of the career.
Yep.
A great player he was, the late Roger Brown, and obviously Connie Hawkins has since passed too. But Connie Hawkins was a playground legend in New York City.
Oh, you better know it.
Back in the 60s.
Yep.
And had he been able to get into the NBA earlier, he would have been. He was a really good NBA player.
Yeah.
But he was at the tail end of his career when he finally got into the NBA.
If he was in there in the early years, he would have been so dominant.
Yep. Because I saw a video of him. This is back in 1970. I actually caught it on Facebook. And it was a game he was playing. And it was just, he played for Phoenix. And the way he handled the ball with the one hand and his ability around the basket to make shots.
Yeah.
And move. He was so smooth, but that his hand, he would palm that basketball, hold it like a baseball. Him and Julius Erving's had giant hands, but
and that's who he patterned his game after. It was
Julius took his game after Connie Hawkins, because obviously Julius came after Connie did. And Hawkins is just an unbelievable great player. And unfortunately, like I said, it gets back to when we get back talking about the NCAA. It's just they need to get rid of the NCAA, these big colleges. You need to just put them and say, we are no longer going to abide by your silly rules, because now with NIL being what it is, and they're not going to control NIL. This is what cracks me up. People, they want to go to Congress. They want Congress to control NIL.
They ain't got time.
We had enough problems. Yeah, that's the other thing. We have enough problems within the country. I think a hell of a lot more pressing than NIL money and some kid making money off his name, which he's going to win anyway in court, because you're never going to be able to limit NIL money to anybody.
Right.
Because where can you do that?
Yeah.
If a kid is 18, even if he's under 18, you can't tell a person you can't make money off your name, image, and likeness. You can't. And I can't, not only can't tell, but I can't limit what you can make.
Yeah.
I can't say, well, because, you're going to school here, we're going to limit your NIL to $100,000. You can't do that. Yeah. He'll lose that in court. And that there's lawyers out there waiting for them to try to limit it, because as soon as they start to limit it, the lawsuits are flying.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they're going to lose, because they've got a horrible track record with court.
Yeah, I know.
When you go through, I mean, they lost the Supreme Court case 9-0. As much as basically people scream and yell about the Supreme Court, being their political ideologies being what they lost 9-0 to the Supreme Court. So what does that tell you? That basically tells you need to go away.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I said. That's why it's just insane what they do. And I think back when, I had a lot of people say, I remember making a comment at a booster meeting, and this was telling them about in college. I said, people cry about, they don't want these kids to give in, and a couple other parents stood up and said, well, you're getting a college education.
Yeah, that's good.
And I said, yeah, that's true. I said, but just because I was getting I'm going to speak for myself. Just because I was getting a college education.
Right, that's fine.
And it's paid for, I still was hungry. I said, but I couldn't, what you got to understand, when you have a full ride, you're not allowed to get a work study job. Right. You're not allowed to.
No, you're not.
You cannot do that.
No.
So now you have no funds, really. So are you dependent on home? Maybe home can't send you.
No.
I said, and at that time, my dad had passed. So it's just my mom. I'm going to be calling my mom all the time to send me money so I can eat. Right. So now if I get something, if somebody gives me something on campus and buy it for me, it's an NCAA.
That's a violation. That's a violation.
And I said, so you're going to tell me they shouldn't get something else? I mean, come on. And that was before NIL. I remember doing this. I was talking about something. I said it was something, they should be getting something.
Right.
So they can have extra funds. So we don't have to worry about these illegal under the table things. Right. I mean, it's still going to happen regardless, but it may limit some of that when you out front where guys can go ahead and have money.
See, they used to allow those guys to work at one time, and then they stopped that. Because Archie Griffin used to work for John Galbraith when they were building the Bank One building many years ago down in Columbus back in the 70s. And Archie worked down there. Well, he had the hard hat, the vest is, protective vest on now. They didn't want Archie doing a lot of lifting. They just said, okay, Arch.
Walk around
and hang out with us and talk to us because we want to talk sports. So, but they like, Archie, very likable, good guy. But the point is, that was great. They could make money. And then evidently later on down the road, they put an end to that.
Yeah, the NCAA put it into it.
And
didn't do it.
I always thought that at least, kids could go out and make money on their own, get a job, make some money, still get your college paid for through your athletic scholarship.
Right.
But you had the ability to make money on the side. And if you got a job at whatever your dealership, whatever the job you got, and you can make money.
Yep.
And they did. And I think that was one of the worst things that the NCAA ever did, is put an end to that. Because at least you could have let kids, like you said, kids are getting money anyway.
Yeah, they're going to get it anyway.
So at least let them at least work or get a job and go through the motions of saying, okay, at least they got a job doing something and they're making some money.
Right.
And then that would be fine. And then, maybe you lighten up a little bit with these kids.
Yeah.
Right.
And they don't.
Right. And that's the thing that they, they miss. So Harbaugh basically can't coach, and he can't coach anymore in college, but he's got a 5-year, $16 million per year, $80 million overall contract.
Yeah, it's a farce because it's till 2028, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, 20 to 28.
So let's say he does his complete 5 years.
Yeah.
That's 29.
You're 29.
So he could go back.
He could go back.
That's just some formality they doing.
Saturday Morning Sports Page, back after a quick timeout.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
The Mahoning Valley's leader for golf, Milk Creek Golf Course, is now booking tee times for 2024. We offer stay and play opportunities available with 9 area hotel partners. For more information, visit our website at millcreekmetroparks.org. Also, look for new, exciting opportunities coming soon, including an indoor player development center with Trackman, an indoor Callaway Club fitting center, and an Odyssey fitting studio in 2024. Follow us on Facebook at Milk Creek Golf Course or call 330-740-7112.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Ohio. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Saturday Morning Sports Page. Pat Lucia, Dave Clark back. We kicked the NCAA around a little bit for the first half hour.
Yeah, that was great.
That was fun. It always is. They're so easy to kick around because they do so many incredibly stupid things.
Yeah.
And the Harbaugh, I mean, I saw this and I go, what is wrong with these people? These NCAA, like, what do you mean you're suspending a guy that's no longer your coach? Now you're making this big puff your chest. We're going to lay the penalty down on Jim Harbaugh, who's coaching in the NFL.
And with any fines or any money, they'll pay it. He won't even get that. He won't even get that for himself. They'll pay that off or whatever.
No, it's never good. He's never right.
Oh my goodness! Just let it go.
That's what I mean.
He's gone. Let it go.
You need to go away. Yeah, Jim Harbaugh is 60 years old, by the way. Okay. So he'll be 61 in December. But he's there, the Chargers, and if he wins, which we think he will, I like the Chargers this year. I think he is going to win a lot of games. And he's a good coach. He's a good NFL coach.
Right.
And I think with that team and that roster, he is going to really compete for, pretty much who's going to, that division title with Kansas City. I think Oakland and Denver will be 3 and 4. If you look at the over-under of wins, if you're wondering, Denver is at the low end, 5.5 over-under wins. Patriots are the worst at 4.5 as far as over-wins. Over-under on wins. But the Chargers, who we still like to call the San Diego Chargers, even though they're the LA Chargers, but we know different. Because they'll always be the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah.
They're the LA, we still call them the San Diego Chargers, is how we refer to them on this show.
Mm-hmm.
But the San Diego Chargers are 8-5, 8.5 win total. I would have a tendency to take the over on that. Maybe I'm overinflating Harbaugh, but I think that he's going to do a lot. I just go back to what he did with San Francisco with that team that I believe went 6-10 under Singletary, and Harbaugh had him in an eyelash of the Super Bowl.
Right. But the thing, the difference in the two, though, is San Fran, when he took that over, they had a solid roster, and he tweaked things, got it to do it the Harbaugh way, and they was able to flip it. Now, the only thing with this now, L.A., we call them the San Diego Chargers. The only thing that's different is you allow Mike Williams to leave.
Yeah.
You allow Keenan Allen to leave.
Yeah.
Austin Eckler is gone. You go down the line. So now you're running with J.K. Dobbins, also Edwards, who was at the Ravens, and we got to see J.K. Dobbins has been a very good running back when healthy. He's been injured a lot. Their receiving core is young, new guys, got to get on the same page with, Justin Herbert. I mean, it's a lot of things, and he's having a problem right now with his foot.
Right.
With that, so, I mean, that concerns me there. Now, as far as being competitive, that doesn't concern me. He'll have them competitive and playing. But I'm wondering now, after I started looking, I said, man, they depleted a lot of areas. Can they rise to the occasion? And we had to see. That's the only thing.
That'll be the question.
Yeah, that's the part that concerns me. When I look at Denver, their roster is not bad. The concerning part is it going to be Bo Nix as your starting quarterback or not? I mean, I think it is going to be him. I really do. Even though they got him as third team right now, I think that's just a smoke screen. I think he's going to have every opportunity to be the starter because I think that's what Peyton wants.
Yeah, I believe that. I agree. I think he's going to be the guy.
And the Raiders, I think the defense is going to be very good as it was last year. They got to get quarterback play. They solid everywhere else. Now, you did lose Jacobs, so Zamir White and whoever else got to step all the way up for a full season at running back. But the way you use running back sometimes is so much different. So they got to get good quarterback play, and they could be dangerous. But they got to have They don't have quarterback play.
Well, who is their quarterback? Minshew is the quarterback.
I mean, it's between him and O'Connell. And I give O'Connell. It's not that I dislike him because he didn't think he was even going to play He was just going to be sitting. He got thrown into the fire, and to go 5-5, and then win, beat KC, beat the Chargers, beat Denver. You beat all your rivals. He was 3-1 against his, those guys. So I just, you beat the big guys. So I don't know. And Gardner Minshew played well for the Colts into the playoff game.
Yeah.
But that's when you need them to step up. So I just don't know. If they get quarterback play, I think they'll be fine. But if they don't, it's gonna be it could be a long season there too.
Their over/under is 6.5.
Yeah, but now I'm probably gonna take over with the thought process if they get the quarterback play. They don't get that quarterback play, it might just be about that 6 win. Because you gotta have that. You got to have that in the NFL. You just have to. Yeah.
6.5 is their over/under number. So
even if you got a guy that he doesn't have to be, win the games, but don't lose it.
That's the key.
And just manage the game well. If you can get it. Now, those guys can be managers, but they got to play well. They can. I done seen the ability, but can they be consistent? We'll see. Minshew is nice, always stepping in, and he's that type of guy. Put him in anywhere. He did it good at Philly. He did Jaguars, wherever he's at. It's just that I don't know if that's your full-time starter. And the Raiders was upset anyway because they wanted Jaden Daniels, but they couldn't get up there. That was too far up to get him. Not Chargers, but the Commanders was not going to give up that to allow him. So the next thing, they really thought they were going to get Michael Penix. And then Atlanta just shocked them, and that just did it then. Then they was like, I don't want any of the other guys.
Atlanta threw everybody a curve.
Yeah, that went back to the drawing board then. I don't think they had those other guys high enough to be taking them at their position. And I didn't have anything against them not taking a quarterback once Penix went off the board. I said, you can't take these other guys right then. I mean, you had Penix go off and Bo Nix, both of them. Right before
they were gone before.
Yep, right before. Them was the only two I see them stats. They'll take one of those two.
Yeah.
And they're gone. Atlanta moved up, gets them, and then Denver right before the Raiders pick took Bo Nix.
Which you think he would have been a Raider had Denver not taken? But
yeah,
as you said, Denver I think pretty much was taking Bo Nix no matter what.
Yep, they were taking him. So
because Peyton wants a quarterback, you knew he wanted a rookie he could groom and get in.
And I think he looks at Bo Nix and he reminds him of Drew Brees.
Yep.
I think he looks at that the mannerisms, the things that he does, and I think that's what he said, I can work with this guy. So, that was the biggest thing. That's why I said, when the Raiders was trying to see about getting a quarterback, you thought it might have been both guys that went to Pittsburgh. I thought it was going to be one of them too. I thought it would be Justin Fields.
I thought they would go after Fields.
Yeah, they was trying to get it, and it was just certain things didn't work out.
Reason it didn't work out.
Yeah, it didn't work out. Wilson too. They tried to get him too. It didn't work out for him to get him. So
I didn't think they would get Wilson because I don't think Denver would trade him in the division.
Yeah, because he was a trade. Wait, was he a free agent? Or was he a trade? I thought Justin.
Well, maybe
Fields.
he was cut.
Yeah, he was cut.
He was cut. Yeah. He could have. You're right.
Yeah, he could have went.
He could have gone anywhere. You're right. No, that's my bad. Right. He could have gone to the Raiders. Right. Yep. Wilson could have, and Wilson was a trade because they only got like a 6th round for him. They didn't get anything for. They only
Fields?
got. I mean, Wilson. I'm sorry.
Fields. Right.
Was like they got a 6th round pick.
Right.
So it wasn't really everybody thought they would get more, but they did not.
Right.
Now, my only concern with Caleb Williams and Daniels is their body size.
Yeah.
They're not big. And the only thing is in the NFL, and I've just seen college quarterbacks come out, but they can't get hit too much because they don't have I feel those guys' injury has got to be the biggest risk. I think they could play. The sad part is I think they got the skill to play the position, and I think they could both come in and make an impact. My always concern is because they're not really big guys, and the way these defenses hit these quarterbacks, I fear injury more my concern more with them is an injury. I think they're both highly skilled ball players, and these college football quarterbacks are coming into the NFL, and they seem to be a lot more advanced than they were in previous years.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the way the game evolved. I think that Williams and Jaden Daniels could do great things for these teams, staying healthy and staying upright.
Yeah, they got to stay healthy.
Because they're not big bodies. They're thin. They're,
Well, especially Jaden Daniels.
Yeah,
now, what you call it is he doesn't have a big upper body.
No, but his
lower body is like a running back.
Right.
My
concern with him getting hit upper body, can he take those hits? Because he's not a big, thick player. Like you take, like Patrick, people don't realize Patrick Mahomes is a big guy. He's like 6'5" and 230.
Yeah.
He's big, but people don't think that. They think they don't know how big he is. He's really big. Josh Allen is just a man-child. He's like 6'6" and about 260. And those guys could take hits.
Yeah.
But
and Wichita looks like a what I call him a Greek god at quarterback? Anthony Richardson.
Oh yeah, Anthony Richardson is
absolutely that dude is put together,
right.
Boy.
And that's what I mean. You have those guys that are got the big, thick bodies can take the hits. My concern is with the young quarterback Daniels and Caleb is they've got to keep them healthy and upright, and they can't take really big hits because I fear they'll have more injury. But I think they have the skill to play and can make a difference in the NFL right away.
Yeah.
Like I think Jaden Daniels, they'll all go through growing pains.
Yeah, and they got to keep them healthy so that they can grow, because that's one thing about it's just like going to college.
Right.
They build you up so quick. The NFL will do the same thing.
They will. They'll need to work on their bodies like Lamar Jackson worked on his body, and he became thicker, bigger, fast. He's still fast, and he didn't lose speed. But he worked, you could see his upper body. He's just a lot stronger now than he was when he first got in the league.
And then he lost weight for this season.
Yeah, he did.
He came down to almost his rookie season type weight.
But he's just, I bet he's got like no body fat.
Yeah, that's what it is. See, his body is still much stronger.
Right.
And everything. So
that's going to be the key. I mean, that would be my concern with the younger quarterbacks, the two ones I mentioned, is I think they can play and contribute and can make an impact right away. I think Chicago's put a really good team around Caleb Williams. He's got a lot of weapons. And so I think, as he gets in and works as the season progresses, I think he will, he's going to start off.
Yeah.
They always start off a little rough, but but the way these preseasons are anymore, all the teams start off a little clanky. They kind of like, they're putting it together. They're figuring it out.
Yeah.
And I know some of the games we watch at the beginning of the season aren't the greatest games from a viewer. Like, you could see a lot of mistakes, but as they kind of play more games, they'll get better. And I just see that those players, as they navigate through the season, will obviously improve, and they'll figure the defenses out as they go. And like I said, Chicago has a very good team, though. Yeah, I'm not sure about Washington's team. I think that's a rebuild, where Chicago's past a rebuild. They have really a good, talented roster.
If they win 8 games, that Ryan Poles got to be up for executive. I mean, he built a team.
The over-under on their win is 8.5.
Oh, it's okay.
So they're 8.5, and the Packers are 9.5.
Yeah,
if you're wondering, right. So
you put together, I mean, you revamped that offense. The offensive line was a disaster.
Yeah, in fairness to, and that's how we saw it with Fields. He went through different coordinators, and the line was not the greatest, and he was always running for his life. Now, I watched him last night a little bit in the Pittsburgh game. He made some good passes. They didn't score a touchdown. But I don't really get crazy with preseason. That's just him breaking the ice and getting into the rhythm of the team and that kind of thing. And again, he will get used to the team. Now, Russell Wilson is hurt, and he is the starter for the Steelers. But Fields will obviously sit the bench. It'll be interesting to see ultimately what They do. Now, there's rumors out there big time that Fields was on the trading block and somebody was going to trade. There's teams that are still interested in trading for him.
Right.
That really need quarterbacks. So,
and I think that will happen. It's going to happen
wouldn't
there.
Shock me.
Denver too. I mean, where they're going to go after some of these guys because they need, whether they want them as a starter back, whatever, they're going to go after these guys.
Yeah, I wouldn't rule anything out there. Like I wouldn't be shocked if the Raiders don't make a move and grab and would go after a Fields or somebody.
Especially if these guys don't perform.
No, especially if these guys.
They see something. Hey, they can guide us, and I think they'll be okay.
And if the team is very good and the only lacking position is the quarterback is holding the team back, I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked by anything at this point.
Right.
Now, Brandon Ayuk, the latest now is the 49ers are trying to sign him to keep him.
Yeah, because
they trade.
Everything is falling through.
Everything is not.
Because the Browns had something in place.
Right.
But San Fran wants Amari Cooper. And the Browns was thinking of doing it. But then again, they was really thinking, hey, why wouldn't I want to do that? Have Cooper and Ayuk. And they trying to get something else going, but I think things just fell apart on that.
And supposedly the Steelers are in the mix.
Yeah.
But the only thing that I say to that, if you look at the Steelers, they don't like to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, it's out of the way they do stuff.
Right. And that's out of their.
Yeah. I mean, they don't do that kind of stuff. I mean, they pay you,
but they don't
do it like that.
What is it they don't do? They don't guarantee. There's something the Steelers don't do with the contracts.
Yeah, they don't acquire guys like that.
And that's what I mean. They don't, and maybe they don't guarantee the years after the contract or the future something. Anyway, I don't think that's going to work. I don't think that even though they keep saying the Steelers are going to get Brandon Ayuk, I don't think he wants to play for the Steelers based on the contract situation.
Yeah.
They're not going to fulfill his contract demands, so he's not going to go.
He's not going to go there, yeah.
The way it works is he's got to realistically agree on the contract with the team he's being traded to first, and then they'll trade him.
Right.
So they're not going to trade him to a team that doesn't have an agreement on contract.
Well, that's why I know that Amari Cooper for the Browns has to be a part of the trade.
Right.
Because then they can do that contract for him. They can't have Amari Cooper, even though he just signed through this year and reworked his contract. They still can't have that type of over their head. I mean, they can do it. They can, but it can make. I give Andrew Berry, he's something with the numbers. He'll work it out some kind of way, but I think they have to give up Cooper, and I don't think the Browns really want to do that. And the Steelers, that's just not how they do stuff. And since 1969, they've been one of the best teams to ever draft wide receivers.
Yeah, they've been.
They drafted in 5th round. I think Antonio Brown was a 4th round draft. Third or somewhere in there.
Western Michigan, right?
I mean, and we've seen what type of player he is. They just get guys. They drafted, Roman Wilson. Now he's injured, but he should be ready for the season. I think he's going to be fine from his. They just know how to draft wide receivers.
Yeah, when it comes to wide receivers,
people passed on Pickens. Oh, he's so good. Yeah, okay. I mean, they just find them. I don't. They have always been like that. Guys you never think of. They just bring these guys in and they can play. Eli Rogers, who was there for a couple years, but he was there and successful for them in them few years he was there. Not back, what was that? Maybe 2015 somewhere. If people remember Eli Rogers,
right?
Playing. Guy just, I don't know where they got him from. 6th round. He was starting, doing everything. I mean, it's just something. They just do well with drafting wide receivers.
They're scouting.
And they even if they don't draft, they'll get undrafted.
No, they pick them.
And they'll get them, and they still work out.
Yep.
So it's something. They got a great scouting staff of doing that. So I'm going to be surprised. If they get Brandon Ayuk and go to his demands. It'd be something that's really out of the box for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I just can't see it.
And I don't see it.
I don't see that happening.
I think what's going to happen,
he's going to end up with San Fran.
I think San Fran and him will work it out.
Well, they need to, because you know what? If this stuff drags on, it's too much of a distraction.
And that's the other, exactly. Now they asked Shanahan about losing Ayuk, and he's like, you could tell he didn't really want to answer the question because he's like, well, if you lose, we lose. You know, he's almost like, well, yeah, but it hasn't happened yet. You know, and I don't blame him because it puts him in a real tough spot on how do you answer that, because he doesn't want to answer that because he's got other problems. He's got other problems as far as getting the team ready and get him in sync, and make sure that they're clicking, and he doesn't want to be dealing with personnel issues because those he wants to worry about what's going on
right now
in the field. And he doesn't, he hopes they keep obviously,
I know.
He wants to keep him. If he had his choice, again, just pay him and let's keep the guy because I want him on the team.
Right.
Because, I want Samuel and Ayuk, and I'm sure Brock Purdy wants to keep Ayuk.
Yeah. Yep.
He's the quarterback. You don't want to lose him. If you're Kyle, if you're
want all
Purdy,
the weapons you can.
Right. You want all the weapons on the team.
Yep.
So you're thinking, Brock Purdy's thinking, man, I hope he stays and they keep him because I want him on the team because I need another. I want to keep him as a weapon to throw to. So
I give it. I mean, and it's kind of far. I give it 10 more days at the most. I think mean, you got to get this thing cleared up.
The Niners have. That's one thing they do need to do.
Yeah, they got to clear this up.
You need to get this figured out
because you still haven't got Trent Williams.
No.
And you got to get him,
and
back.
You got to get him back because you need that. He's key. He's line. He's that left tackle,
and he's probably the best at his age. He's still probably the best left tackle in football.
I think he's still rated the best tackle.
Yeah. I mean,
left tackle in the game.
He's dominating.
Yep.
Both pass and run.
He's dominating. He's just a beast, man.
Yeah.
He's the best left tackle in the game right now, and you got to figure out how to keep him.
That's your quarterback's blind side. You got to get him.
Yep.
So I know they're trying to deal with we got to get him in. We got Brandon saying so make a decision. It might be something you don't want to do deep down, but you're going to have to do something.
Yeah, you got to figure.
But you can't lose. Brent.
No,
you can't lose.
No, you can't.
No, you can't lose.
You really don't want to lose. You can't lose Trent Williams. I would say you can't lose. He's number one. You can't lose him. Ayuk is number two. You don't want to lose him.
Yeah. So we'll see what they do.
We'll see what the Niners do, and the Brandon Ayuk saga continues.
Yeah, because I just think these teams are getting better. Detroit, I think they feel that they got unfinished business. Packers might be nice roster. I mean, they put things together. If that defense rises to the occasion on a consistent basis.
They signed Jordan Love. Mm-hmm. He's done. He's in the books. They got him signed up.
Yep.
So there's no problem there. So now it's just, and then Miami did sign Tua. That was the other quarterback that got signed, sealed, and delivered. So they're done.
And the best one in the best spot as a quarterback is Dak Prescott. See, he could just go to work and not worry about no kind. He don't have to worry about it. He's getting $60 million regardless. You're either going to pay me now or they're going to pay me later. So I'm just going to do my job, play football, and during the season, see, I can't say anything. The last 2 seasons, he has been probably one of the best quarterbacks in football.
And he's played well.
Yeah, it's just been in the playoffs. It wasn't just him that's just against the Packers, because where was that defense?
No.
They got shredded.
They got shredded by Jordan Love and the Packers.
And Aaron Jones.
He
ran all over him.
Yeah, he did.
He was all over. I mean, he had a great game against them. So they didn't show up, the defense, and they want to put everything on Dak. And when I looked at it, I said, no, not in that game. He's trying to bring him back. He throws an interception, which he doesn't throw many.
He had the pick six that they keep holding over his head, but the defense played absolutely horrendous.
Yep.
But that's the question is going to be with Dallas is, you're right. I mean, I think at the end of the day, they're going to end up signing him.
They better, because if he may say at the end of the season, you wait. Yeah, wait.
Well, he'd be a free agent.
Right, and he'll wait. And we want you back, Dak. Well, you didn't say that during the season or before the season. So why you need me back? And he'll go somewhere else And now they searching for a quarterback.
Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Trey Lance he may end up being he may be the odds favorite to be starting the Cowboys next year if
because Cooper Rush might even leave too.
Cooper Rush might leave.
I mean, so they're in a tough spot. And
yeah, Jerry's getting old. He wants that Super Bowl.
And Jerry's talk crazy too, because he said, "Why do I have to rush and sign CD Lamb? You better let him walk too." Okay.
Yeah,
he's in this. Is he in his 5th year? CD Lamb? Is he in the last year of his contract? I don't know what the hesitation. Now maybe the money. Why you got to work something out with him, because you can't tell me he has not produced.
No, he's played well.
Yeah. I think he's in the last year of his rookie contract, I think.
Let me see.
Now, I might be wrong. He might be in the 4th year.
Here it is. Let's look. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it says, let's see what he's got going on here. He signed a 4-year deal. Let's pull this up real quick. We're coming up on the break. Yeah, he is. This is it.
This is it.
This is it for CD. $17 million is what he's due, and that's it. And then he's an unrestricted free agent. So we'll have to take a break. It's halftime.
You're listening to WRDB, Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, Warren, Salem, and around the world.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Saturday morning sports page, Pat Lucia, Dave Clark, 330-707-4202 if you want to get in and talk sports. I probably didn't give that number out in the first hour, but it's out there. So if someone wants to call in, you can call in and disagree. So
we won't get mad.
We won't get mad. That goes back. We had Kevin used to do the show with us. We had a gentleman that used to do the show with us. He used to call in. Good caller. Kevin was always, spot on, good guy. And he called one time and he said he got banned from this show. I won't give any more about it. He got banned from a show because they didn't agree with what he said. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, they didn't agree with what I said, so they banned me. I said, but you're supposed to, that's sports talk radio. You're supposed to that's good. That, we do this show when someone calls in, if they disagree, that's fine. I like that. That's good. Why am I wrong? Pat Lucia, you're an idiot. I don't agree with your take. Okay. I don't, maybe you appreciate being called an idiot, but I'll take it. I don't care. But why do you, what is it that I said you don't agree with? But that's good. You're supposed to basically, give me where I'm, no, I don't agree with your take. I don't think you're right. Okay. Right. Why am I not right? That's supposed to be a good thing.
And it gives the opportunity for us on this side to listen to what they have to say. Yeah. And then maybe look at it through a different eyeglass, as they say. Let me listen to, okay.
Maybe I am wrong.
Right. I get where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
And I still might not agree with your tip, but I do understand where you're coming from.
That's right. There's a lot of times I would say that.
But I'm not going to ban you because you don't agree with me.
No, if you use profanity, you get banned. But if you're...
And we had some of those
we had a couple of those guys who do that. Unfortunately, we had to, get them off before they did drop the proverbial...
We had one guy that got banned from every single show on that network at the time. You remember that?
Yeah.
The one guy. Every single talk show. I'm not even talking about the sports show.
No,
anything.
Everything.
Because he would call in for any kind of thing.
No,
he wasn't allowed.
Bad. Yeah. No, it was not good.
He's the FCC champion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was exactly.
That guy is, he was terrible.
CD Lamb is getting $17,991,000 this year. Almost $18 million. And evidently it said there's a status, it's club, as I'm looking at this site that's just a great site. It's called Spot Rack. And it's great if you go online and look at contracts. Gives you year by year, gives you, dead cap hit.
Everything.
Cap hit. It's just,
because a lot of times you don't know what you're running into.
And this is just the best site. If you ever want to know about contracts, go into this site. It gives you year by year what they have option. It's just, I think it's a great site. Anyway, he will make almost a hair under 18 million this year. He is however, he is in last year. So now he is a free agent at the end of this year. So Dallas has got to decide what they want to do with CD Lamb. Do they want to keep him, sign him, or I guess you could trade him, but you see the problem with making trades now. This is the problem with all the contracts, like Brandon Ayuk's contract. If they trade him, they're doing a contract extension. See, that's the people get he doesn't get money now. He's going to get it. And when the contract runs out, it's called, he's negotiating a contract extension is what he's doing. Right. So they abide by the contract, but then he will then get the extension. And that's where the rub is with the 49ers is trying to get him to the contract extension and how much do they want to give him?
Yeah. Right.
But CD Lamb's contract is up.
They want to pay.
Right. And the team going there would take Ayuk's
extension.
They would. Yes, they're negotiating an extension now. Brandon Ayuk's contract is up. I mean, I'm not Brandon Ayuk. CD Lamb's contract is up.
This is his fifth year.
This is his fifth and final year.
Yeah.
So Jerry's got to decide.
Yeah, and that's the part I don't understand. Now I understand. Okay, you did give Dak money before, but it's the most important position on the football field. You got to have a quarterback you want to win in that league for sure. So, I mean, people could throw all kind of darts at Dak all they want. Who are you going to put in there? You better. I mean, he has been able to win for you during the regular season. Doesn't mean he can't win during the postseason. You're going to have to do some other things to make sure that happened. Like shore up your running game. That's one thing. And shore up that defense. You got all kind of talent, but they were absolutely dismantled and wasn't ready to play against the Green Bay Packers. So I don't understand that. Then CeeDee Lamb is produced. So I don't understand why he wasn't already put in the contract. Extended out a little bit. I mean, even if it was just something you could do to extend it out a year or two. But you can't get in this situation they're in.
Brandon Ayuk is also like CeeDee Lamb. He's in the last year.
They came the same year. I think they did come out the same year. Yeah.
Same year. So bottom line is he's getting $14 million this year. Ayuk is almost the same as CeeDee Lamb is. Boy, these guys had, like, to give you an idea, I'm looking at his contract. Brandon Ayuk's base salary last year was $2.3 million. And the signing bonus is 1.6 because they prorate that.
Mm-hmm.
So he was only making $3.9 million last year.
Right.
Now this year it says club, and I think this is kind of like because they picked up the 5th year. That's like a franchise or whatever that is.
Yes, that's like yeah.
Yeah. So he's getting the 14 mil, but that's it.
Right.
So he's an unrestricted free agent next year. So is CeeDee Lamb. Their contracts almost mirror one another.
And people get upset. They're making that kind of money, but what they're not understanding, the guy's not worried about what he's making this year. He's looking at, I'm not going to retire from football. I want to still play. So where is my security going forward? And that's what they really want. Spread that stuff out. Give me, some extension, extra money, and we go from there. That's what people don't understand. So, it's just like you said, that last year, it's like almost like being a franchise tag.
It's kind of like a franchise tag them for 1 year.
Yeah.
But now both of those guys, CeeDee Lamb and Ayuk, are their contracts are close, really very comparable. But they signed, like, to give you an idea, when Ayuk was drafted, he signed a 4-year, $12 million deal, which included a $6.6 million signing bonus, 12.5 guaranteed, an average of 3.1 mil a year. So it said he will earn a base salary this year of $14 million, which is almost same thing with CeeDee Lamb contract, close to that. He's almost 14. So the point is, they have the same contracts signing as coming out of college.
Mm-hmm.
Now they want that second contract.
Right.
But so did, Jefferson from Minnesota went through this.
Mm-hmm.
They gave him big money. And I think Ayuk and CeeDee Lamb are looking at, well, if Justin Jefferson gets this, we want something close to that.
Yeah. And who else we got? Jamar Chase is holding out. Or holding in.
Yeah. And he's another one where he's in kind of the same boat. Now, the other wide receiver for Cincinnati,
T. Higgins is
playing under the franchise tag.
Yep. He's betting on himself. So then he will be a free agent at the end of the year too. And he's going to have a lot of suitors. Stay healthy.
If he could stay healthy.
Oh, yeah. He usually does. That guy is going to be a number one receiver for somebody. Because he's definitely got the talent to be a number one. Size, speed, route running. That's something.
You see, and that's where the interesting part's going to be with these players. Same thing with Jamar Chase. He was a top 5 pick, right? Yeah.
I think so,
they did. They didn't take, like he was number 2 or 3. Yeah. Burrow, because they were going to take Sewell, but they took Jamar Chase. Anyway, same thing with Jamar Chase. He signed a bigger contract because he was a higher pick. He signed a 4-year, $30 million deal with the Bengals. Now he's in the same boat as CeeDee Lamb and Ayuk. He's in that 5th year, and he's getting $21 million this year. But then he is a unrestricted free agent next year. So next year, you could have one of the greatest classes for wide receivers if these guys don't get signed.
Yeah, I know.
Because you would have CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, and then Brandon Ayuk as unrestricted free agents hitting the free agent market.
Yeah.
These NFL teams would go crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But they're looking, again, these guys, you see, Justin Jefferson he was the one top market, but it's the same thing you see with quarterbacks. The money's going up with quarterbacks. Dak Prescott's going to get his money. Mm-hmm. We know he's getting his money. Jerry doesn't want to give him the money.
Yeah.
But he will sometime give him the money.
He's going to have to, or somebody else going to give it to him. He's getting it.
Jerry didn't learn before because he could have got Dak cheaper, but he kept waiting, and then he had to give him what the market was. And Jerry keeps putting it off, and he's going to end up giving him $60 million a year because that's where the quarterback salaries are all going.
Oh, yeah.
They're all headed to the $60 million range.
That's why Dak is just as calm as ever. He just at practice. Right. He's not concerned. He's not a distraction. He's nothing. He's just practicing.
One thing I like about him, if you look at his history in the NFL, he's not a disruptor. He's not a guy that stirs it up. He doesn't say anything. He's a great guy.
Right.
You interview him, he's got a smile on his face, and he's a great guy. He's a great person. I really like him because he just doesn't, he's not an irritator. Yeah. He's not the type of guy that's going to stir stuff or say inane things to get everybody to the press. He doesn't give the press all the fodder that, they want to hear. He's just, no, I'm fine. I'm good. We're going to get it. We're up. My agent's going to take care of that. Yep. Well, I'm fine. Yeah. What? I'll let my agent handle it. And he doesn't say anything about the organization. He never says anything about Jones. He never says anything, any detrimental comment he never says. He's just really the type of guy you really want on your team because he's not a disruptor, and he goes with the plan, and and you never hear anything about the players. I mean, he gets along with all the players well. They like him.
Yeah. And like I said, I remember somebody I forgot what show I was watching. The guy said, well, he has to win. These defensive guys are going to be looking at him. And I remember, I know it was on ESPN. I can't remember which show it was. But the other panelist who was on there said, well, they can't be looking at him funny. He said, did you see that defensive performance against the Green Bay Packers? How could the defense look at him about anything? I don't care if he threw a pick six. That's because put under a situation where we got to get back in this game. Now you start pressing a little bit, trying to make big plays to get in the game, and you make a mistake like that. He said that team, just like this year, nothing wrong with bringing Ezekiel Elliott back. I really don't think anything wrong with it. He should retire as a Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah,
but even if I bring him back, I'm getting somebody in that. I'm going to draft a big-time running back. They thought they was going to get Brooks from Texas, and somebody else took him. You better get on the free agent horn and get somebody in there to be your lead back if you don't think you got one on the roster. But you bring Ezekiel to be your lead guy, he's done lost a step. He's not that same guy you had years ago. So, I mean, it just looks like they do some things that's odd, Jerry Jones just does things that's odd, and I don't understand.
Again, Dak Prescott has got a base salary of $29 million and a signing bonus. They prorated. That's $13 million. They restructured $12 million. So, I mean, he's basically getting about $42 million, let's say, for this year, but he's an unrestricted free agent next year. So he's 31, and he's had some injuries, but he's still playing. He's still a good quarterback. Now, you can get in the argument, is he a top 10 NFL quarterback? If we could go down and say yay or nay. But Dallas doesn't have, to me, a lot of options here because they have a pretty good roster around him. And he's been a solid quarterback for them. Sometimes he doesn't come in the clutch. I've watched him but he has played well when you look at his numbers.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they're going to do with him, because if they don't give him the money, he'll become an unrestricted free agent, and somebody will give him the money, because the bottom line is we're seeing Tua signed his deal.
Mm-hmm.
Love signed his deal with Green Bay. And then you look at all your other quarterbacks last year. Lamar Jackson had that hold up, but he signed.
Yeah.
And everybody, Burrow got his deal done.
Well, you see people was crying about Tua. What in the world are they giving him 50-something? And I got an announcer came on and he said something. He said, so what are they supposed to do? Start over?
That's what I mean.
You can't do that.
Right.
This team is ready to win now.
Right.
Yeah, and it's not like he's a terrible quarterback. You're just saying he's not worth that.
But
okay, maybe not, but you better sign him. You got to sign him.
You're right. The thing is, the teams don't want to give. Okay, Tua's not on the level of Mahomes. We know that. There are very, very few quarterbacks are, but Mahomes, I don't even think is now considered. If you rate the highest paid quarterback, I think he's like 8 or 9 or 10. He's down.
Yeah.
But when you start looking at the quarterbacks and what they're getting paid, that's the going rate.
Yeah, so you got to give it to him.
Right. And I don't know if Green Bay wanted to give Jordan Love the money, but they had to.
They had to. I know they did, because there's not. Green Bay has been a storied franchise. We know they've been great with quarterbacks. We already know that. But Jordan Love, who I think is getting great to be good, but it's only one season. It's only one season. I don't think you want to give that. Normally, you want to give the guy that type of money after just seeing it for one season. And they got to remember the first few games was a rough patch for him, and then it just seemed like everything clicked, and he just looked great all the way through.
Played good.
But do you want to pay him just after that? No. Usually you want to see it again.
Right.
But they can't do that.
Right.
They can't chance that.
Right.
They do that, and then he goes somewhere else.
Right.
Now you got to start all over with a quarterback.
Jordan Love gave him a great deal last year. He gave him a very team-friendly deal. That 1-year deal was like, he took literally, for a quarterback, not a lot of money. I can look up the number, but I know it was something obscenely low because he was betting on himself. Well, he cashed in. He got the team to the playoffs. They beat the Dallas Cowboys. They should have probably beat the 49ers.
Yes, they should have.
But at the end of the day, he got you almost to a conference final. And the bottom line is you've got to pay him, because that's what the quarterbacks are getting paid. Mm-hmm. And that's the same thing and they knew that, and they got the deal done. I mean, he had to hold out a little bit. Jordan Love was like, hey, I'm not going to play until I get my contract here. And, what's his name? Gutekunst said, yeah, okay, we'll get on that right away. And he did. Mm-hmm. And they got the deal signed, and he's in. And same thing with Miami and Tua.
You got to do it.
And that's what they did. They signed the guys. They gave them pretty much the going rate for a quarterback. And that's what Jerry's not getting, that memo where he just he wants to ignore that. But I mean, the thing with CD Lamb and with Dak, what is it? The chickens are going to come home to roost here, and you're going to have to pay these guys, or you're going to lose them.
Yeah.
I mean, CD Lamb is an unrestricted free agent.
If you lose both of them,
you can't lose them. And the Niners, I think, with Ayuk, I would venture to guess, I'll go out on a limb and say at the end of this week, I think that deal. I bet you they get a deal done. I think the 49ers will get a deal done with Ayuk.
And even though they like the guy they drafted, who was good, Purcell, I think he's from Florida.
Right.
Very good, big receiver, can catch in traffic, does all the things, but you don't really want to start over with press him to be in there like that. He's going to play, but it'd be better if you have all of them. So,
you want to rotate in and out, and that's what exactly. And they're just trying. They're going to have to figure it out.
They have
because
got to do something.
You're going to have to get Ayuk signed. He's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. To figure out maybe a long-term deal where they can how they play and structure that money with the signing bonus, like they they always do. But I think that I have a feeling that the Niners will get Ayuk signed by the end of the week. I think because
we should know something.
You can't trade him. Evidently, teams are not going to really want to pay him what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Niners realize they don't have much of an option here. So I think they'll hammer out a deal and get it done.
Yeah, and Seth, I'm wondering, I'm reading something here. It says, now the Patriots dropped out.
No, they dropped out.
But the thing, they despite receiving a strong contract offer worth a reported $32 million per season, they dropped out.
But they dropped out.
So it must have been some wording in there that they didn't like, something. That's a high number, and they dropped out of it. So I just think what's going to happen is it what you said. I think they're going to get this thing done some kind of way till he stays there. Yeah,
So,
because that's what they did want to mark.
He signed, for the record, we're talking about Justin Jefferson. He signed a 4-year, $140 million extension.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know when you keep talking about this, and I guess that's what this sets kind of the bar for contracts. And like, to give you an idea, it's a contract extension. So Jefferson's still going to make his rookie money. See, that's the other thing is when these players want, now Ayuk's contract's up, and so is Lamb's. So, I mean, they're on a 1-year deal and that's it. And then they're unrestricted. But a guy like Justin Jefferson wanted a contract extension earlier. So he's still under, Justin Jefferson is still under contract through 2024 and 2025. He's only getting roughly about $9 million a year for the next 2 years because it's still under the rookie deal. Mm-hmm. However, he signed the 4-year, $140 million contract extension that includes $110 million guaranteed. And $88 million fully guaranteed at the signing. So at the end of the day, it averages out to $35 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
And he becomes the highest average paid non-quarterback in NFL history. Time signing. But the point is, why do I bring him up? Is because CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Ayuk are looking at some number like that.
Right.
And that's where the big rub is because Jerry's problem is, I think this is his dilemma. I don't want to pay Lamb and Dak. So then what do you see? And that's and the Niners have they're paying Brock Purdy next to nothing, but
next year,
those chickens are coming home to roost because they're going to have to pay Brock Purdy money.
Oh yeah, they're going to have to.
They're going to have to pay him.
Yep.
So the 49ers are like, I don't know if we want to give Brandon Ayuk this kind of money because we know down the road we're going to have to pay Brock Purdy money because he's the quarterback and those quarterbacks are getting, Brock Purdy's probably going to want something in the neighborhood of $50 million a year.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's definitely.
It's definitely that, maybe more. But the point is, and Dak's looking at the $60 million because that's where the contracts are all going.
And I was looking at what happened with the Cleveland situation with Brandon Ayuk. Actually, a trade was in place. It was all settled.
Right.
But he doesn't want to go there.
But he doesn't want to go to Cleveland.
He doesn't want to play for Cleveland.
Right.
So, and he didn't want to play for the Patriots. Really, the team that he wants to play for, it was two. And it was, I almost said Redskins, but the Commanders.
Yeah.
Or the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's it. That's all. And so he didn't want to play for them. Now, what hurts the Browns is that you go into contract talks with them and then get into a contract talk and talk about Amari Cooper. Hey, we'll send you that. Now, that doesn't send a good message to him, even though you did just give him an extension, but it's only through this season.
Right.
I think, he's a constant pro, so he's going to play at the top of his game for the Cleveland Browns. But I think this will be his last season in Cleveland because if you feel that team didn't really have the love for you, they're ready to ship you out for Brandon Ayuk, you probably feel some type of way and probably won't come back there. I mean, now dollars can make a difference by them paying them even more. But
and that's kind of what
that's what they'll have to do. They're going to have to go after another receiver, not in the draft. They have to get a guy that's going to be a big time pro.
Right now, as of this discussion, when you look at Amari Cooper's, he had a base. They restructured his contract, and this year, according to this, he's only getting $2 million because he got $20 million last year on the base. Yeah, the way they did this, NFL accounting is very creative with these contracts.
Yeah,
I look at the spot rack, and it's like he made $20 million last year, but he's only going to get $1.2 million as a base, and the prorated signing is 3.7 bonus. So you add that up, it's almost $5 million,
right?
Because they restructured. But then he's an unrestricted free agent next year.
Yeah.
So Amari Cooper's kind of in the same boat with Ayuk, because they're both unrestricted next year.
So you can add him to the
right. You're going to add Amari Cooper to the mix as an unrestricted free agent if they don't give him a contract extension.
Right.
If Ayuk doesn't get his contract extension, and CeeDee Lamb now are potentially all unrestricted free agents next year if they don't get re-signed to an extension. Because their contracts are all up.
Yeah, and it'd be something that all of them get to that, because I was going to say that'd be one of the
I will be
best
very surprised.
Unrestricted free agent I ever seen at receiver.
I don't think.
I don't think they're going to let all them guys get there.
I really don't think all three are going to get there.
Yeah.
I still think, I have a feel, I don't know, I could be wrong. I think Ayuk gets done this week.
This week. Oh, well, I think something's going to be done this week.
I really think. Or he gets traded.
Yeah, this week.
Fourth quarter coming up, Saturday Morning Sports Page.
Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the-right seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
Hiya, Queen of All Knowledge here, reminding you, creeps out there on the internet hack, scam, and trick savvy cyber users every day. But we can fight back. It's as easy as IC3. If you're a victim of online crime, don't give up. Visit IC3, the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. Your tips help the FBI track down cyber criminals around the world. Report your crime to www.ic3.gov today.
Saturday Morning Sports Page, Pat Lucia, Dave Clark. 330-707-4202. Talking sports talking a lot of NFL today, especially the contracts, the pending situation with Brandon Ayuk. It looks like the Niners now are looking to try to keep him. They were going to trade him, we're told by all the insiders, but that doesn't look like that's going to happen now. So evidently the Niners have gone back to the drawing board to try to keep him, Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah.
So, but as we said, Brock Purdy's contract will be coming up, and they're paying him next to nothing because he was the last player picked in the NFL draft. And I guess you could make the argument that he is kind of where the Niners got real lucky. To give you an idea, his contract. I mean, the Niners failed on Trey Lance. They gave a lot away. They drafted Trey Lance. It didn't work out for whatever reason you want to say. And they traded him to Dallas. I believe it was a 4th round pick they got.
Yep.
So that didn't work out. In fact, you can go back at all those quarterbacks in that draft. Mac Jones is not with his team anymore. He was in the draft.
Yeah.
Justin Fields was in that draft.
Yeah.
Trey Lance was in that draft. And they were 1st round picks. And no one is with their original team any longer.
Yeah.
And then obviously a year after that draft, but he wasn't in that draft. Kenny Pickett is no longer with the Steelers.
Right.
So the quarterbacks are, a lot of hit and a lot of miss with quarterbacks.
Yeah. I mean,
there's some hits, but there's more misses than hits.
Yeah. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, Kenny Pickett has even been struggling to a certain extent with the Eagles. I mean, the backup position is there for him.
Yeah.
To be the backup, but if he we'll see how he do through preseason.
Yeah, you're going to have to give him preseason and see how he does. But yeah.
Yep.
But here's the situation with Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, I laugh because it's so funny. And it's not, but it is funny. He signed a 4-year deal, $3.7 million. That's what the contract is for Brock Purdy.
Mm-hmm.
So they are getting Brock Purdy at the basement deal of deals.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have a quarterback who got you to a Super Bowl, done well, and Brock Purdy will be looking at calculated here. And here's what I like about this. The calculated market value for the quarterback right now is $52.1 million. That's what they Spot Rack says is calculated market value is going rate is 4-year, $208 million, average salary $52 million.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he will be a free agent in 2026, Brock Purdy, and his average salary is $934,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
So his NFL rank is, as far as on salary, is 2,402 as far as salary goes. So, i.e., he will be basically, the 49ers are going to have to make a decision very quick. Well, they have another year or two, and then they're going to have to frank out the bank and sign Brock Purdy to an extension of probably somewhere in the neighborhood of at least $50 million. At least. Because that's 2 years down the road.
Right.
Which, as we've seen in the NFL world, is quarterback salaries and all salaries are going up, which is good for the players. But it's great for quarterback because that salaries just keep going up 50-50. I mean, by the time Brock Purdy's going to be rolling around, the average salary, quarterback salary, a couple years is going to be probably 60-65 million.
Yeah.
That's what Dak's looking at now. He's looking at, hey, another year, the average salary is 52. I'm a starter. Yeah. I'm looking at 60 million.
Mm-hmm.
And Jerry doesn't want to pay him. But
he's going to be paid.
But he's going to get paid because the average salary now for quarterbacks, 52 million.
Yeah. All Dak needs to do is just go play well.
Yeah.
And he knows he's getting paid
by
either
someone.
Them or someone else.
Right.
But he's getting it.
But he's going to get it.
Oh, yeah, he's getting it.
And Brock Purdy's hanging in there. playing the quarterback, doing his thing. You know, maybe they win the Super Bowl this year. But bottom line is, he knows that in another year, he's got a contract. He's got it. You know, his contract's going to run out, and he's going to look for a contract extension, and they're going to probably have to pay him somewhere in the neighborhood of 50, 60 million.
That's what's going to happen.
But that's, you know, I know these teams don't want to.
But they might as well just get ready to, because that's where the market is going.
That's where the markets go. Now, we talked about this subject too, and we'll talk a little Olympics too. Okay. First of all, the Olympic ratings are really high. TV, everyone's watching the Olympics. It's great. This has been a while since the ratings have been this good.
Right.
I think a lot of it was, you know, they were playing them in the countries like in a different different time zone, and the games just weren't really on. And then they played a COVID year.
There was nobody in
the stands. It just
I mean, it didn't even seem right.
It didn't even exactly. It just didn't seem that 2021 Olympics just seemed off.
Yeah. I mean, it did. I mean, just was guys trying to create energy because there was no crowd.
No,
and people don't understand how much the crowd has to do with what you do. I mean, all you had to do is look at the women's 4x1 yesterday to let you know the energy level. Because, like you said earlier off air, Sha'Carri Richardson was a human rocket.
Yeah, because she's a human rocket.
I mean, and it was so funny because she had to look back to find out where the stick was, because Gabby Thomas was running so fast, and she's tall, big girl. I mean, she can run. And she was running so fast, she's trying to get to the side so she can get that baton. So she was behind. And man, within milliseconds, you talking about somebody's leg turnover, to run like that.
Man, she could go.
She just ran right past, even looked at the girl to say, I'm gone. I'm out of here.
The lady from Great Britain was at the end there.
Mm-hmm.
And Sha'Carri Richardson comes flying up. I mean, like you said, it reminded me of a human rocket, turbo boosted human rocket that just flew. I mean, she's just like overdrive, and she just came up. And as she came up, she looked over as she was passing the Great Britain runner who was at the end, and she knew she was blew right by her.
Yeah.
And she was just checking to see where she was as she went by her like a rocket. And then she won that gold going away. But man, they were behind. Mm-hmm. And then when she got that baton, she just shot down her lane. And it was, you could tell the way she was moving up in that lane, it was over.
Yeah. I mean,
and she ran right by everybody.
I mean, right by.
And like I said, it's a turbocharged human rocket that just shot by. Sha'Carri Richardson is just, man, I've been watching, you watch Olympics and you see this, but boy, that just like, that was unbelievable, man.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it just was unbelievable, how fast she took off.
Yeah.
It was gone. And it was like,
there was just so many different aspects of things. I mean, Simone Biles, and I'm thinking about the swimmer. I can't think of the swimmer, but they call him the Joe Burrow lookalike. You know what I'm talking about? It's a guy, I can't think of his name, but
he's for the USA?
He's for the USA. He looks just like Joe Burrow to do. Wear their hair the same, everything. But the guy usually swims at a pace where he just stays in the pack, and then his last 2 to 3 lengths of the pool is when he just, like you just said, a rocket. But he did a different strategy this time. He never trailed in the entire race. And I forgot how many laps they had to do. I forgot how many. It was 20-something laps. This guy was flying the whole time. I just couldn't believe it. I said, this is unbelievable. But do you do that in the 2021 with no fans, no energy in the stands? Those things don't happen. I'm telling you. It's always been like that. If you ever played sports, and believe me, the stadium whether the fans are cheering for you or against you, it still gives you energy. Because even when you're in a stadium, they're rooting against you, it fires you up to prove them wrong. So the fans are a big part of everything.
I mean, and that's big.
Yeah, it's
you
big.
see it with the runners and their family, and the families, and then the people in the stands are just so wound up in these games. And you could see how the players feed off that, and it definitely impacts the performance.
Yep.
And when they didn't have that in 2021, it was kind of like the Olympics. It was just like they were performing a track meet with no one there, and it was like it just didn't have the energy. But now the stadiums are full, they're loud, people are screaming and yelling. The TV ratings are up, they're high. I mean, these ratings are great, and the players are and the athletes are just feeding off that energy, and it makes a big difference in what you're watching out there.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I mean, the men's basketball had the big scare from Serbia and had to come back. Would they outscore them 35-17 or something crazy in that fourth quarter and pulled the game out 95-91? Game that looked like they were going to lose.
Yeah.
But then Serbia beat this was announced that Serbia beat Germany and Serbia got the bronze medal. Okay. Today, the men are playing France, Wembayama, and the French team at, I believe, 3:30 for the gold.
Right.
So we'll see. I mean, the men were blowing everybody away.
Yeah.
And they had beaten Serbia twice already, but the Joker and Serbia had enough in there to put a good scare Thursday.
Yep.
But the USA pulled it out in the fourth quarter. But again, when you have Durant, LeBron, and Stephon Curry, you just can't. Those guys aren't going to. I'm not surprised they came back. I probably expected them.
Yeah.
But it's just with that kind of talent on that team. Yeah, I could see them coming back and winning that game.
Yeah.
I wasn't shocked that they did it.
Yeah, and I hate some of the pundits that like to say, well, I mean, look, they struggle with this team, they struggle with that. And our original dream team, it blew all these guys out the water. But the competition was different back then.
Different era.
Yeah, because the foreign teams were not this good. They might have had a player on their team that was great, but these teams are great now.
Yeah, it's a totally. You see, this is where people make comments like that.
Look at Canada's team.
Right.
That's mostly NBA players.
Right. and that's, you see, the thing with that is the players now, especially your European, but your world, they are different because the teams are so much better.
Yeah.
The world basketball has just skyrocketed as far as talent goes.
Yeah.
The 92 team was a great team, no doubt. But the level of their opponent was not good. I mean, basketball was kind of in the infancy stage as far as,
internationally.
Yeah.
To be able to compete.
To compete. In the foreign countries, it just wasn't there. Now, you make the argument that a lot of your NBA players, your great NBA players, very good NBA players, are obviously from another country.
Yeah.
The Joker, and you start rattling off these players, and then you get a lot of great players from foreign countries in the NBA, making the NBA that much better.
Yeah.
So the point is, these players play for their own countries. Those countries are good teams.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why when I looked at Canada, I said, boy, they loaded.
It's a loaded, they've got good teams. I mean, across the board. So
France got a pretty good
France
team.
has got a good team. Now, I still obviously favor
play for them, but he didn't.
No.
Because they already had 2 7-footers, and I understood him not playing for them.
No, he basically, that's right. And he said that he's been in America for so long, he says that I'm an American. I'm playing for America because that's where I live, and that's where, right. And he also saw the fact that they've got 2 7-footers.
Why would he want to?
Why would he play there? But he wanted to play for America too.
Anyway,
Good point. So bottom line is, you've got that. It'll be interesting to see how that game does play out today. France, I mean, I think they should win, but that's one thing you never know with the NBA, with the Olympics, especially with these teams, you just don't know.
Yeah, I know.
France could get hot. Serbia got really hot.
Yes,
and probably should have won, but USA made that big comeback fourth quarter and pulled the game out. And this could be a game. Maybe America got the scare they needed because they'd beaten Serbia very easily, and they kind of weren't ready for that. Serbia almost caught them off guard. Now, maybe USA got that out of their system, and they'll be ready to roll.
Yeah. And B could be a big part because now with you having Gobert out there at times, even though he hasn't played a lot, but you might need some of your size out there.
Yeah, you might.
Yeah.
So he played really good against Serbia. I guess in the second half he really played well. And the thing with Embiid, he and Joker are the two best big men. You can make the argument who's better. I think Embiid could be slightly better than Joker. The only problem with Embiid is he's just hurt.
Yeah,
injury bug. But they're talent-wise, they're both two of the best big men in the NBA right now. The Joker and Embiid. Mm-hmm. Again, you can get in the argument of who's better. It's a very fine line. Who's better? I don't know. To be honest with you, I could flip the coin. Yeah. They're that close. They're so close in talent. Embiid just had the injury bug. And that's what he seems to be trying to overcome. Joker, not so much with the injury, so he plays more. But bottom line, they're talent-wise, they're both great NBA players. So, yeah, with Embiid being on the USA team is just another bonus with, again, LeBron, Stephen Curry, and then Durant.
Yeah.
I mean, that team is loaded. I mean, Jason Tatum's upset because he can't get in and play.
Right.
And Kerr's saying it's a rotation issue. I don't know how to put him in. Is there so much talent on this team?
Yeah.
And I don't know what the answer is when you have that much talent,
Right.
But again, at the end of the day, Durant still is one of the top players, and obviously LeBron is. Now, the only question is, can LeBron play till when does LeBron retire? He doesn't right now. He's playing at a top level.
Yeah, he doesn't look like.
No, he doesn't. He has not. He's lost very little. He's lost a little, but he's still, for 40 years old, he's still one of the best players in the game.
Yeah.
And he's still performing at a high rate. So
he adjusts his game like he just slash into the basket all the time. He picks his
he picks his spots
when to do it and stuff.
But he's still he's a presence out there on the court. You have to account for, and he still makes other players better.
Right.
When he's out there,
he's smart. See, his IQ is so high.
It's through the charts. Yeah, basketball IQ is unbelievable.
Yeah,
so
that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have him on that team with Curry, Durant. Now you got Embiid.
And I forget that Durant is 36 years old.
Yeah, he is.
And had
he's had his fair share of injury. Yeah, he had the Achilles tear, and then he had I think he had like a Liz Frank injury to that foot early in the career. He sat out, I think, about a year. When he was OK City, he had some injury issues with his feet. And then, like you said, the Achilles with Golden State. Yeah. So, but he could still shoot the ball, and he could still, drive, make the shots, and he's still a 7-foot guy that has unbelievable basketball skills.
Yeah, and it's hard to match up.
You can't match up. It's almost impossible to match up.
Yep.
He's out there 7 foot, and he can throw the ball from a 3-point in, and he gets on a roll. He starts hitting those threes. It's lights out.
Yeah, no.
He's a 7-foot guy that can sit there and shoot the threes like easy. You can't defend it.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's so, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they go. Did you know that Lyles, who had the bronze medal, he had 102-degree temperature because he has COVID.
Yeah,
when he ran, and he ended up third place. And he won the 100.
Right.
And I think he had COVID when he had run the 100.
He had COVID.
But he won that but that was by the skin of his teeth, but he won it.
Yeah.
And then he was 102 temperature when he won the bronze at the 200 meters.
I know. Oh, and he didn't look right.
No, he looked. Like he did not look.
Getting ready. My wife said,
No, he
"What is
did
wrong with him?
not look good. He didn't look good at all.
She said, I know he likes to get himself hyped up.
Yeah,
And he tried to do it, but he didn't look right.
No, he even said then afterwards he was really, he was struggling with it. He was sick. He was feeling bad. And I'm thinking, my God, if this guy didn't have COVID, he probably wins the 200 meters going away easy. And he probably wins the 100 meter going away easy.
Yeah.
But no, you could tell the poor guy was, he was sick.
Yeah.
He still gets a bronze medal though.
Right.
Is that unbelievable or what? I
know. Yeah, something.
Now, the only question is, always talk about this track guys. Can they play football? And usually they don't. Can't get hit.
Yeah.
That's Nehemiah was a great track. He played a few years with the Niners.
Mm-hmm.
And he had the track speed. He was one of the guys that did okay.
Yeah, he did okay.
But
only guy that I can think. Well, I can't say he's not the only. That's somebody else.
No, I believe that. Well,
definitely Bob Hayes.
Bob Hayes,
for sure.
Yeah.
Olympic gold medalist.
And he was
NFL, and he was good.
He was a great wide receiver for Dallas back in the 60s.
I was trying to think of somebody else that played and was in the Olympics too, and I can't. Wasn't bad. Ron Brown.
That's it. Yeah, he was pretty.
Kick returner and receiver.
Right.
And he wasn't bad. I think he was in the '94 Olympics in LA or somewhere. One of them. Yeah, but it's not many. It can make that transition.
Now they didn't do good on the relay. The men's relay didn't do good.
No.
Carl Lewis was upset.
Yeah.
So he says they got to get it. They got to figure it out and get it together. He's 63 years old, by the way. Carl
I
Lewis.
know.
And it dawned on me. Well, he won in '84.
Yeah.
He was 23. It's 40 years.
Yeah. So
He won. He was unbelievable. I still like the Star Spangled Banner, though.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That high note.
Yeah.
He was, when he did that Star Spangled Banner, he was fine. He's got a good voice.
Uh-huh.
And when he was singing, it was doing good. It was that high note that he couldn't reach.
He couldn't reach it, boy. I mean, he definitely could.
That's still fun. Uh-oh. Here goes.
Mm-hmm.
Not getting that.
He went too far.
He went too far. That note he couldn't get up there. Get that.
Oh,
get
that was
note.
terrible.
Uh-oh. At least he admits it.
Yeah.
But that was, like I said, we'll see how the men do. The men's basketball. Now the women play. Yeah, this is interesting. Both women and men play France.
Yeah.
Women play tomorrow. They play France tomorrow, and the men play France today.
Yeah.
Both for the gold.
For the gold, yeah.
I watched the women yesterday. They were on cruise control.
Yeah,
they dominated. Who was it? I can't. That game was never in doubt. The women just cruised the whole. Unbelievable players.
Yeah, they're good.
They played really good. Brianna Stewart, and
what you gonna do with her? And what's her name? Not Davis. What is her name? You know who I'm thinking of?
Yeah, I know who you mean. But they played
Las Vegas.
Yeah, they unbelievable.
I mean, you can't stop them.
You can't stop them. The talent, the women. And
then when you get
the women have never lost a game in the Olympics. Basketball.
Yeah, I
don't believe the women have ever lost a basketball game in the Olympics. I thought that I had heard that.
Or they have a long streak. Something.
They got an unbelievable streak in the Olympics.
Yeah.
And the women are just
they just have everything. I mean, when they need deep 3-pointers shot, Anescu.
Yep. Yeah.
She hits that she'll do it.
She's unbelievable too.
Yeah.
And then Brianna Stewart. It's just,
and what you call this gets me to be 43 years old, Diana Taurasi.
Yeah.
Still playing.
She could still play, man.
Still can play. Still out there with the young girls, and she can still do her thing there. So they have everything. They have everything. I mean, they should bring home gold. We'll see.
Yeah, I think they
play the game. That's
we're going to have to wait and see how it goes. You don't want to assume anything because you never know in these teams.
Especially in international
play gets strange.
Yep.
They don't get a call here or there. They get into a close game, and then all of a sudden it's like, what happened?
Yeah, because the thing about it, they can't look around like in an NBA game or a WNBA game for a call because they allow them to play a lot differently in international play. A lot more banging.
Right. That's a problem that they have a lot. The men ran into when in the years they didn't do good, like in 2004 when they didn't do good. And then in 1998, the men didn't do good, is because they didn't have a great team and they weren't getting calls. And games can go astray quickly, especially a younger team. You're not getting calls, they can get down. And if they're playing in the men, a lot of those European teams are basically seasoned veterans. So you get into situations there when you look in our past where, it's just they don't get calls. And it's not the NBA, it's a different, they referee the game differently in that international
they allow a lot of contact.
Yeah, they allow a lot of contact, and some of the calls are questionable, but, game is an interesting ebb and flow, and when it doesn't start going away, it's a close game. It can get out of hand. That's why you can never rule out these games for the men and the women. No guarantee they're going to win. I think they're talented.
But you just don't know.
You don't know. Yeah. Well, that's the show. Everybody stay safe. Do not drink and do not drive. It is a Saturday morning sports page. Pat Lucia, Dave Clark on Western Reserve Radio.
You're listening to WRDB, Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, Warren, Salem, and around the world.
Noon Eastern or 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is the Lombardi Line with former NFL executive Michael Lombardi. Now here is your host, Femi Abebefe, on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome back. It is hour number 2 of the Lombardi Line. Femi Abebefe alongside Mike Palm, the VP of Operations here at the Circle Resort and Casino, where we reside in downtown Las Vegas. We had a fun first hour. If you missed it, just search Lombardi Line wherever you get your podcasts. We have a fun second hour, I should say. Also some sun outside as well.
Sun second hour.
Yeah, you got to be careful with some of these words. Fun second hour on deck for you guys. 30 minutes from now, Benjamin Albright of KOA Colorado, the radio station. He's a Broncos insider. We'll be discussing Broncos country as Jarrett Stidham will be starting tomorrow when they take on the Indianapolis Colts. It will not be Bo Nix. He'll be getting the second team reps. We'll ask him about what the latest is on that quarterback competition. I still think it's Nix, but we'll get Benjamin Albright's thoughts on it in about 30 minutes.
I hope we get to see Nix for 3 or 4 series, though. I really would
not
like
3
to.
passes like Drake May?
Well, he thinks there'll be more. Mayo says he thinks he will get more reps.
Yeah, I expect he'll get more reps. What are you, an insider, dude? You're the coach, man. Like, you decide how many reps he gets. What is going on? Yeah, it's, the offensive line wasn't good. We didn't want to put him. Okay, whatever. He's not going to play in the regular season, but let's not play him in the preseason. That makes sense. As you can tell, I'm salty that we didn't see more Drake May Thursday night, but that's neither here nor there. We will see, though, Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders 1 hour from now as they take on Gang Green. No Aaron Rodgers for JETS Jets, but we will get the chance to look at the Heisman Trophy winner, the second overall pick, as Jaden Daniels will make his NFL preseason debut.
Do you think that he was a product of the system at LSU? Do you think Brian Kelly is a really good offensive/quarterback coach? I remember watching this kid at Arizona State and thinking he was really overhyped.
He was erratic at Arizona State. But you could see the talent there because he was a big-time recruit.
Yeah,
and
but I
he
thought
played
this
early in his
kid's
career.
totally overhyped.
But it was, I mean, they were celebrating when he left Arizona State. Like the ASU guys were like, oh, get him out of here, good riddance. And then he goes and wins the Heisman Trophy a couple of years later. I mean, I think the system helps him out, but you still need a quarterback to elevate that system. Like, I don't think you're going to see like Nussmeier go out there and light it up or anything like that. Like, Jaden Daniels lit it up because he's also a really talented player. And yeah, he had great weapons and a really good offensive line. But I do think the large portion of it was his talent. So I think the Commanders, though, just from a team standpoint, as that line today is out to Commanders laying 3, the Jets are catching a field goal total 34.5. This was Pick'em earlier. We'll see Tyrod Taylor for the New York Jets. When you look at their quarterback depth chart, Jordan Travis, which, I mean, if he plays out there, that's what a remarkable comeback that is after the way he got injured for that Florida State team at the end of last season. Andrew Peasley as the 4th-string quarterback for the New York Jets. But I think that the Commanders are a team that could potentially be feisty. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. I would take a look and shop around maybe some Commanders to make the playoffs bets, just given the fact that their division, I think, on the surface is a little bit weaker than most people think. I know a lot of people are into Philadelphia. I'm not as into them as much. I think everyone is out on Dallas. The Giants, I mean, it's Daniel Jones. I don't think they're going to catch lightning in a bottle like they did 2 years ago and made the postseason then. The Commanders, there's room for them to actually be the surprise team in the NFC. And Dan Quinn, say what you want about him as a head coach. He made a Super Bowl, but then things didn't really end well in Atlanta. At least the vibes are going to be much better. It's going to be a total 180 of what they were with Ron Rivera the past handful of years. So I think the Commanders could definitely be one of those surprise teams that we see in the NFC. But the team that everybody thinks will be the surprise team, it might not even be a surprise anymore, just the expectation. That's the Chicago Bears, featured on HBO's Hard Knocks. They're playing today. We're going to get Caleb Williams against Josh Allen for probably a quarter in this game where the Bills are laying 2.5, the total sitting at 38. So maybe we'll get some starters out there for a decent chunk of it for the first preseason game.
Yeah, a lot of eyeballs will be on this game. I'm interested. I said to Jeff Benson, I would guess that this will be the highest handle game.
Mm-hmm. A lot of first half bets.
Right. People are going to look at this and plus, because you're getting Allen in the game as well, too. I want to go back to your Commanders to make the playoffs bet, which is they could win the division, obviously, but you're saying they're very live for a wild card.
Yep.
If they're one of the wild cards in the NFC, then who are you down on that wouldn't be that's favored to be or expected to be a wild card? Because you must think that the Packers or Lions, one wins the division, one's a wild card.
Yeah, I think there's 2 there.
Correct?
Yep.
We say the NFC South's a 1-bid league, right?
100%.
So Rams, Seahawks, you're not sold on either one, really?
I'm not necessarily all the way sold on Seattle. I think the defense will be much improved, but Geno Smith is still kind of up and down, I'll say. Like, it feels like he's put together seasons where one half of the season's good, the other half of the season is bad. And I think Jaden Daniels, I'm just more so looking at the upside of, by the end of the season, Jaden Daniels could be a top 5 quarterback in the NFC. Like, he has that potential. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. That's why it's plus 260 for them to make the playoffs, and the win total is 6.5. But I also sit here remembering Houston Texans having a 6.5 win total, and they won their division last year. Like, I think that when we have these young quarterbacks, when the expectations are lower, and the reason why I think this is a good conversation to have with this Bears game coming up, because Caleb Williams isn't getting the low expectations. His expectations is you're going to make the playoffs. That I would never get involved with. And in fact, I get involved the opposite way, as I bet the under on the Chicago Bears win total, because a win total of 9 for a rookie quarterback is asinine as far as I'm concerned. But when the win total is like 6.5, 6, 5.5, like it is for Denver and Bo Nix, they could actually surprise to the good, and you just have a little bit more leeway to go ahead and go over those numbers and maybe get some of those extreme outcomes to come in.
So then let's go back. The expectation is Philly or Dallas wins the East, the other's a wild card, right?
That's what people think, yeah.
Do you think Dallas may not make the playoffs?
They have disaster potential with a lame duck head coach and all this contract stuff going on.
You're also bullish on the Vikings more so than the market, right?
Yeah.
Do you think they're a potential wild card team?
I do.
So you would throw them in that mix. So then you must be out on the West teams.
That's kind of where I'm at.
That leads me to that conclusion.
I'm a little bit lukewarm. And also, if you asked me to pick the playoff teams, I would not pick the Commanders to make the playoffs. I'm just thinking more from a probability. From a probability standpoint of saying, hey, I think that if I buy in on Minnesota, if I buy in on Washington, I think there's a better chance that the market thinks that one of these teams clicks and actually surprises and makes the postseason. And when you're betting plus 260, plus 300, you bet both of those. If you only win one of them, you're still going to make money.
I think Minnesota is very interesting because I think there's a wide variance of what the possibilities could be there. Mm-hmm. But I think they're very well coached. And so it's when you look at their schedule, Femi, they're like, at one point they were 15-1 to be the last team to win a game. Now they're down to like 8-1, where I wouldn't bet them. If they were still at 15-1, I think it's an interesting play in that they play the Giants week 1 in a pick'em, which is essentially a pick'em game. I mean, you could have taken the 15-1 and then bet Minnesota in that game to cover your bet.
Yeah.
And if you lose, then they have a tough stretch for a while.
Weeks 2 through 5 is
right. It gets
not easy.
It's tough. Yeah. It's tough. So if you can get by that Giants game, which is a road game, if you could get by that, I think they become live in that market. But I think you have to bet them in that game because, bet them to push your bet. Essentially, you're cutting your odds in half. But if it was 15-1, you're still getting plus 750 on it. And you could be, and if they win the first game, you push. But I think you could get very live and then get creative after that point when you get to week pop. I mean, there's nothing easy in there. No. Even at Rams, Colts are tough. We don't know about the Jaguars, but it could get to week 11 at that point.
Well, let's play this game because they're a pick 'em right now, week 1.
Yeah.
They'll be an underdog week 2 hosting the Niners, underdog hosting the Texans. And this is all, of course, barring health and injury status. But let's just play it out as it's healthy. At Packers, you're an underdog. Against the Jets in London, you're an underdog. You get the bye week. Hosting the Lions, you're an underdog. At the Rams, you're an underdog. Hosting the Colts, pick? Maybe slight favorite?
I think they're a dog.
You think they're a dog at home? You think the Colts are a road chalk?
Yeah, I'd make the Colts like 1.5 or 2 in that game right now.
So maybe slight dog in that one.
I could be wrong, but
at the Jaguars, you're an underdog. At the Titans,
no, you'd be favored there, I think. But if you had no wins,
you could be a dog. Right. And you're at the like. You start playing this out for the Vikings. It's like, whoa, where are the wins going to come from? I think that they're going to get some of these victories. Like I can see them being 500 after 12 weeks just because I trust so much in the head coach. But that's why I've been back Kevin O'Connell because of this schedule, because it's so difficult and nobody expects him to do anything. If they do make the playoffs or win 9 or 10 games, he's going to be in the conversation because on the surface, it looks like, wow, how is Minnesota going to win anything?
If they're 1-4 and coming out of the bye, they host the Lions, would they pull the trigger and put McCarthy in at that point? Or are they really going to redshirt him this year? Are they really not not to play him?
I think they'd wait for after the Rams game because you get that extended bye week.
Oh, yeah, but the Thursday night game?
After the Thursday night game, you get the extended bye to then home against the Colts, a little bit more palatable than, hey, here's Aiden Hutchinson breathing down your neck as a rookie. Welcome to the NFL.
I personally think Darnold will be better than this disastrous expectations.
Same here.
Right?
He's starting today.
Yeah.
Against the Las Vegas Raiders, speaking about disastrous expectations. How about that quarterback room?
I don't get Aiden O'Connell. I just don't get it. I watched him at Purdue. I watched the Big Ten games.
Yeah.
I watched him at Purdue. I watched him play with the Raiders. I don't get how he could be the starter. I know Minshew's not a long-term guy, and he's a little Fitzpatrick comes in and gives you relief and gives you. I know he played for Philadelphia. But I would go with Gardner Minshew for as long as he can go and stay consistent. I just don't see the upside with O'Connell. I don't at all. He had one good game that skews the stats a little bit.
Yeah.
But week in and week out, he can't move the ball, can't score points. I mean, the defense scored all the points in Kansas City. They got shut out at home by the Vikings. I mean, it's really bad football.
It really is bad. He was good in the preseason last year, which is what I think thrust him into the conversation of being a starting quarterback. But ever since he played in the regular season, the game's moving too fast. I mean, remember the Chargers game when he got sacked 6 times by Khalil Mack? He's fumbling the ball all over the place.
I don't get it. He wasn't good at Purdue. There's very few quarterbacks I watch in college and that got really good in the pros, but they showed glimpses of it. Whether their teams weren't great, you still saw it, right? You still saw Mahomes at Texas Tech. You still saw Big Ben. You still saw that potential. Even Josh Allen at one point. And Iowa would shut them down, but you saw the arm talent the kid had.
Yeah, Mahomes is the most proficient passer in the country at Texas Tech. They just weren't winning games because Cliff Kingsbury. We'll be back on the other side. This is the Lombardi Line.
With the Bloomberg Business of Sports Report, I'm Charlie Pellet, brought to you by ProgressiveCommercial.com, where you can get a business insurance quote in as little as 6 minutes. The Summer Games in Paris will drive an acceleration in French economic growth in the third quarter, according to a monthly survey by the country's central bank. The Bank of France said GDP is set to increase between 0.35% and 0.45%, compared with 0.3% expansion in the two previous periods. Companies that forked out millions of dollars on sponsorship say the Paris Games delivered the branding boost they were counting on, a relief after the pandemic-disrupted Tokyo Games. Meanwhile, it's on to Los Angeles in 2028, where flag football will make its Olympic debut. The NFL can barely wait. The league has been helping to build the sport for years as a way to get more people interested in football and ultimately the NFL. And that's the Bloomberg Business of Sports Report. I'm Charlie Pellet.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins.
Join the millions of people who are celebrating going hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. Footwear you just step into and they're on.
It's crazy how something as simple as a pair of shoes have made my life better.
After trying Skechers Slip-ins, I want all my shoes to have this technology. See what everybody can't stop talking about. Go hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
A lot can happen between falling in love with a house online and owning it. Between imagining living there and breathing in your new home for the first time. Having an advocate who can help you navigate the complexity.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE